is Shanda, and I'm from Staten Island.
Staten Island.
Everybody from Staten Island tonight.
Woo!
All right, all right, all right. We gonna bring some Staten Island flow tonight.
Yes. Okay. Oh yeah.
In the spirit of women's pride. Woo! Shout that shit. I'm gonna spit some black women's pride. Is that okay with y'all?
Yes.
This piece right here is called Black Women's Pride, and I'm from originally from Barbados.
Okay.
All right, my island girl.
All right.
Yes.
And this piece is originally written about how we bring down our ancestors' traditions. Our ancestors, mothers give us a lot of traditions, good and bad. Some of them we bring with us, and we keep them and we pass them on to our children, our daughters, our granddaughters, and sometimes those traditions need to be broken. And so that's what this piece is about, to break those traditions, and it's called Black Women's Pride. Mm-hmm. My great-grandmother, mother of my mother's mother, skin deepened with the blackness of a Bayesian goddess, sun ripened like the sweetest fruit picked from the mango tree, much sweeter than the cane she picked, that blistered her hands high up on the rolling hills at the white plantation house that still stands. Mm-hmm. See, I was born with a black woman's pride. Chain of destruction, generational suicide, my intuitive side, the swagger in my walk. I stand tall with my head held high. Mm-hmm. Even when I'm low, so low that I want to die. Even when you think that you've broken me and all I can do is cry, I was born with a black woman's pride. That's embedded with the tree sap, thick on the skin of my ancestors' back, and pride that lies heavy as the crop of the sweet sugar cane, until the master came slithering back into the shack to taste the sweet succulence of the forbidden fruit hanging out on the rack, and rubbed all over her burnt maple brown skin. Yeah, I'm spitting facts. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But still, she never cried for pain. Ferocious strength ran all up and through her veins to hold all the secrets and all the shame. Yeah, I was born with a black woman's pride. And we were taught to smile through the pain and shed no tears in vain. Never let them see you sweat the shame. And if you must cry, then go out and stand in the rain. 'Cause even when I'm filled with sweet sorrow, to keep in all my mess, for the sins of mine are much too grotesque. For the sins of mine are much too grotesque. No one has to know why I wear this prideful mask. No one has to know why I hold my tongue and never confess. Don't take my silence for weakness, though. 'Cause I was born with a fight and fire that roots out inequality, stamps out domestic abuse, sheds light on sexual assault, and breaks down racial barriers. I was born with a black woman's pride. And I walk with a swagger in my step and hold my head up high. I was born with a black woman's pride.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes.
Talk about that.
All right.
This next piece is called In This Climate, We Must Change. As we stand next to our weary men and march with our blood-stained hands for all our boys who lie still in satin-lined coffins robbed of their chance to be men, how can we align the stars without a united voice? How can we ever have justice without being a justified force? For in this climate we must change. Blood, sweat, and tears of our fathers are raining upon the fires, burning down every dream never realized, every reason to hope, every prayer that left our lips went straight to God's ears. Didn't you hear the weeping in the air? At the end of the day, when the riot is over, young black men are dead on the streets, dead in jail, and dead for no reason at all, yet the fires are still burning. Every dream, every hope, every prayer. And who will be there to save us from ourselves, from the ones who hurt us the most? When we will stop making the same mistakes that cause the suffering of our own. Still, no one hears what you got to say when you act in this violent way. Your situation will always remain the same, all for nothing, and now you have less, yet the fires are still burning. Every dream, every hope, every prayer that left our lips and went straight to God's ears. Don't you hear the weeping in the air? For this climate, we must change. I'm going to take y'all on a trip. So, I know a lot of women were brought up without their dads in their life. And as a result of that, they pick a lot of men or partners that are not good for them. They make a lot of bad decisions. And so this piece is called Daddy's Girl. I looked at you like you were a king. And oh, how I love to stand in church and hear you sing with your deep baritone voice. You were my hero then, my everything, until you walked away and told me not to call you Daddy, but to call you by your name instead. You crushed me over and over again because I was Daddy's girl. And I'll never be the same again. And I find myself looking for you in every fucked up relationship that I ever had. And I was not quite good enough to meet your family then. I was an illegitimate child, the one that was tucked away from the world, the best unkept secret that no one talked about, the one quietly left behind. Sisters not half whole were the apple of his eyes. While I suffered with your disdain, I still wanted to be Daddy's girl. You were my entire world until you changed my whole reality and made me see the father you could never really be. I was Daddy's girl, but you could never be anything to me.
Uno más.
This next piece is called Naked. And I know a lot of times we show people what we want them to see. A lot of times we're hiding our feelings and we're showing one thing, and inside we're holding in a lot. A lot of times we want people to see those feelings. And so this piece is called Naked. If I stood in front of you naked, would you see me? Would you even know that I was there? Standing over you like a moonlight glare. Can you feel me here? Turning you on? Or are you somewhere far away? Too far to reach me today? And if I stood in front of you naked, would you see me? When you gaze upon the stars alone in the night, do you see me there? Amongst the constellations that dance in the twilight, I'm forever in your mind, looking up in the sky with you. In your heart and in your soul, I'm lost in you. My insatiable light burns bright for you. I swallow the dark. I hold my breath. I pray for the stars. Yet, if I stood in front of you naked, would you see me? Would you see all of my secrets bearing like spoiled fruit that were buried deep for your protection? Because you couldn't handle the truth. Would you see the worry that keep me up until the morning? Would you see the tears that strangled me in the night? Can you see every wound I covered and kept out of sight? Every scar now buried neatly inside of me, never for the world to see. If I stood in front of you naked, would you see me? Would you see the high price I paid for living in my shadow, for hiding it well, for dying trapped inside, for a life I prayed for all of me I shared with you. Perhaps I shared too much. Still, it's not enough. Now I have nothing left. And you look at me like an old coin that has lost its value, shine, and significance. I swallow the dark. I hold my breath. I pray for the stars. I stand in front of you naked. Do you see me? Woo! All right.
Yeah, one last one. Cool.
Okay. This one's called Whisper Like Razors. The sweet words you whisper gently in my ear change so quickly to the words that slide off your tongue like razors, cutting and destroying everything in its path. And I stand and watch my heart split in two, like an out-of-body experience, and each time I lose another piece of me, I swallow a piece of you. Every razor, every whisper just slithers down my throat, dragging with it everything in me. My voice, my soul, my self-esteem. I want to scream, but I hold tight, 'cause soon I'll hear the sweet words you whisper gently in my ear. When you whisper like razors. Woo!
Yes.
Woo! Woo!
Where can we find you?
Taylor on Instagram.
Can we get some love for Shanda?